Tanzania's beautiful apartments for rent. Here's what you should know. Stay tuned to learn more. Welcome everyone to Smart Up Travel. I am Ifeanyi. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're far too kind. Thank you. Smart Up Travelers, you will find today's episode very interesting and insightful, especially for those who are traveling to Tanzania and would like to find a home or apartment to stay while you're in Tanzania. Well, I'm going to be laying out some key tips that you should always bear in mind before you secure the deal in finding an apartment or a home in Tanzania. So you want to watch this video till the very end, because by the end of this video, you will have a very great insightful idea of some of the key points you need to look out for before you seal that deal and get a home in Tanzania. Now, for individuals who will be coming to Tanzania for a short-term basis, you're most likely going to be booking online, maybe booking.com or Airbnb. So you may not find some of the things discussed applicable to you. However, you can still learn some things in this episode in the event that you would like to stay in Tanzania for a longer period of time. So for individuals who will be staying in Tanzania for a longer period of time and you would like to find an apartment or a house for rent, you're most likely going to come in contact with a dalali. Now, a dalali is basically an agent, independent agent, right, who has some connection with various landlords in Tanzania. For example, the dalali might have links with various landlords who have homes in Dar es Salaam. And you meet them and they'll say, well, you need to pay a fee, and they'll be willing to take you around, right, and show you some of the homes, right? And by them showing you the home, if you do decide to rent one of the apartments or homes, they get a cut from the money, right, with the landlord. That's how they make a lot of their money. Now, for the most part, most transactions between a prospective tenant and a dalali goes quite smoothly. However, here are some key points that you need to be aware of. Never sign a contract and pay money without having spoken and met with the landlord personally. Now, the dalali role is, of course, to show you the property, show you around, give you an idea about the community and everything like that. But when it comes to paying money, you don't pay money for the property itself to the dalali and sign a contract with the dalali. This is to be done with the landlord. Okay? That's very important, because there are some incidences whereby a dalali might try to say, yes, okay, you need to pay me now, so you need to give a down payment of a lot of money, and then after they disappear. So to avoid these situations, ensure that you always speak and meet with the landlord when it comes to signing a contract. Now, if you're dealing with an official registered agency who has offices in a certain location, well, that's different, because they are actually acting on behalf of the landlord, right? And they're renting the property on behalf of the landlord. So that's different. If there's any issues, you know where their offices are, you know where to find them, okay? However, a dalali, they're like independent, okay? They know the area, they know various communities, and they're trying to make a little extra money. So they may meet with landlords and say, we can help you rent the property and so on, right? But they're not like an official registered agency. So that's different. So a distinction needs to be made between an agency and a dalali. But for the most part in Tanzania, the culture of a dalali to show you various properties is very popular. However, just bear in mind when it comes to handing over a large amount of cash and signing a contract for the property, if you're dealing with a dalali, make sure that you are put on to the landlord and the homeowner of that property before you sign any contract and hand over large amount of money for the property you're interested in renting. Another point to consider in terms of renting a property is, of course, your own safety, your own personal safety. Now, you may be asking, Ifeanyi, what do you mean by safety? Tanzania is quite a safe place. Of course it is. However, safety incorporates a lot of things. For example, safety incorporates health facilities. You may have certain health needs, right? And it will be more convenient for you if you live close to a place whereby you can access health facilities quite quickly. So that's important. You need to consider that when you're renting a place. For example, there are certain areas also in Dar es Salaam which is known to have cases of malaria. So you will want to know about the area. Is there any high cases of malaria and different things like that? So these are some of the things you need to take into consideration when renting a property. Another important point to consider when renting a property in Tanzania is that it's quite easy to get excited when you see the price of how much it may cost for a 3-bedroom apartment with a lovely yard and beautiful garden. For example, you may see a property that costs around $300 a month. But bear in mind, you may have to pay a down payment or a deposit of 6 months or even 12 months. So you'll have to budget for that. In Tanzania, negotiation is king. I'll repeat that again. In Tanzania, negotiation is king. So you can certainly negotiate with a landlord to perhaps reduce the amount of time to pay a deposit. You may be able to reduce it to maybe you pay down 3 months deposit instead of 6 months deposit. So it all depends on how you negotiate with your landlord. Now, a rule of thumb is many people, of course, are drawn to the charm and beauty of the beaches in Tanzania. Areas like Masaki, Oyster Bay, and Ada Estate are quite popular. However, these are beachfront areas. If you are trying to economize and are on a particular budget, you will find that living in areas which is away from the beachfront, landlords will be willing to actually negotiate more and reduce the amount of deposit you pay down, perhaps to even 3 months deposit that you'll have to pay. So that's a rule of thumb to bear in mind. Nevertheless, if you are willing to pay the money up front, then living in an area like Masaki, Oyster Bay, and Ada Estate, etc. might be your cup of tea. But just bear in mind that in those areas, landlords may not be willing to negotiate because they know that a lot of people are interested in living there, so they have a lot of options. So just bear that in mind. Another important point to consider is water. Water is needed in practically everything we do in our daily lives. Whether it will be from having a bath, to cooking, to cleaning your home, watering the plants, water is important. Now, some properties in Tanzania may look beautiful. They have all the requirements you desire, including a lovely garden. Nevertheless, in the event that there is a water shortage, and that does happen in Tanzania, water can go for a whole week, you don't get water. Then what measures is in place? For example, a backup water tank to help you, the tenant, get water. You'll need to find out if a landlord has made any arrangement for you as the tenant in the event water goes. Is there a backup water tank? This is something that you need to consider when renting a property. Now, of course, if you really like the property and there isn't a backup water tank to provide you water, then you may need to consider, well, are you willing to take the property and probably get your own water drums to store your own water? These are some important things you need to consider before renting a property in Tanzania. And finally, the roads. Now, I did mention this in a previous episode. However, its importance should not be forgotten. Some of the roads in some communities in Tanzania do not have proper drainage system. Therefore, during the rainy season, there can be serious flooding to the point where the road actually looks like a river. So you'll want to make sure that you find out about the road conditions before you choose a property for rent. So to sum up today's episode, we spoke about the dalali and the importance of ensuring that you connect with the landlord to sign any contract and to hand over any large amount of cash if you decide to use a dalali. We spoke about the importance of safety, right? You may need to live close to a health facility. You may need to find out is there any malaria in a particular area you're trying to live in. These are very important. Also, we talked about the down payment. Some landlords may require 6-month down payment, 12-month down payment. Nevertheless, negotiation is king. And the farther away you're from a beachfront area, more landlords will be inclined to even negotiate to bring the deposit down more lower, so you could even end up paying 3 months deposit. So in all your search for properties in Tanzania, take these points I've discussed with you on board. Sometimes it's not just about how beautiful a place is or how lovely the garden is. They are crucial things, and although they may seem small, it is definitely important to ensure your stay is comfortable and worth your time. I am Ifeanyi, and do remember to like, share our videos, and subscribe to the channel by clicking on the red box below this video that says subscribe. Thank you for watching Smart Up Travel.